Welcome back, my dear crime lovers. This is a new episode of the history of the American Mafia, a podcast brought to you by Fabio Fabiano, translated and read by me, Grace Cadlisi. I do hope you enjoy this new episode. As we are in February, I thought I'd talk to you about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The Valentine's Day Massacre drew America's public attention to the rampant violence and corruption related to organized crime. Throughout the 1920s, law enforcement seemed unable to thwart the mobsters' activity. They were unable to do much to stop those who flouted the prohibition laws. Alcohol smugglers exploited legal loopholes, built their own distilleries, or bought alcohol on the black market. In reality, prohibition, instead of bringing health and prosperity to the nation, led to the expenditure of huge resources for repression and, in addition, a frightening increase in crime. This criminal escalation led to the commission of crimes such as smuggling, robberies, thefts from convoys carrying alcohol illegally, and many murders. The most remembered episode was the killing of 7 people in Chicago in the infamous Valentine's Day Massacre. This served as a wake-up call to Americans who became aware of the underworld of organized crime that had infiltrated the nation. But let's get to the facts. One of Al Capone's major rivals on the streets of Chicago was George "Bugs" Moran, leader of the North Side Gang, who controlled the bootlegging of alcohol into Chicago. Moran was a childhood friend and later right-hand man of Diane O'Banion, the undisputed leader of an Irish gang in Chicago. O'Banion was killed in 1924, so Moran and Earl "Himmy" Wace inherited control of the gang. When Wace was killed in late 1926, Moran became the sole leader of the gang. For the next 3 years, the gangs of the Italian-American Al Capone and that of the Irishman were in competition as they ran the smuggling and other crime businesses. Tensions came to a head when Moran began encroaching on Capone's territory. The climax of their contentions was an event that would be known until today as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. On the morning of February 14th, 1929, a group of men posing as police officers broke into a garage in Chicago's Lincoln Park, where 7 men of Moran's gang were gathered. Confiscating their weapons and lined them up against the brick wall. Witnesses reported seeing 4 men enter the garage. 2 of these wore uniforms. The fake policemen ordered Moran's gang to line up against the wall, where they were hit by bursts of machine gun and rifle bullets. All 7 men inside were murdered, most dying immediately. One of the victims, Frank Gusenberg, survived, but when questioned by the police before he left this world, he declared, "Nobody shot me." On the spot, the investigators found 160 machine gun shells scattered throughout the crime scene. Moran was nearly killed. Indeed, as he approached the building, he had seen a police car arriving. Unaware that they were not real policemen, but Al Capone's men. Thinking there was a raid ordered by the police, Moran immediately left the area. At that point, the Irish-born gangster left without his gang. At the end of Prohibition, easily understood how his power was diminishing and was reduced to committing petty crimes, and had to leave Chicago. He was arrested for robbing a bank in 1946, then died of lung cancer in 1947, serving his time in a federal prison. Capone was not in Chicago at the time of the massacre, but was strongly suspected of having ordered it. However, no one was ever convicted for this heinous massacre. After the shootings, the FBI labelled Capone Public Enemy Number 1, a label the Italian gangster hated. Several months later, Capone was arrested for contempt to the court after feigning an illness to avoid testifying before the grand jury. He was eventually sentenced to 11 years for tax evasion. For this crime, he served his sentence in various penitentiaries, including the high-security Alcatraz. When he was released from prison, he was very ill and stricken with syphilis. He died in 1947, although the Valentine's Day Massacre took place way back in 1929. It is still considered Chicago's most notorious act of crime today.